Now, the most important part in this screen here are the 4 connections, okay? The first one here is a 9-pin green cable. This one is used for newer models from 2016 onwards. And it's mainly for commercial vehicles, of course. The 9 6-pin cables are for older models from 2016 and before. OBD2 for Volvo and Mack, and then OBD2 as well for light and medium duty, okay? Let's see, we have a truck that's from 2014, uses a black connector here. We can use the green cable or the black cable, doesn't really matter. And we click on connect. The options we have here is just run a system scan, in which case we will only see the different systems in the truck, or run a system scan plus read fault codes, okay? If we click on this, in a minute and a half, we should be able to have a clear picture of exactly what's wrong with the truck, okay? We should be able to see exactly which systems there are on the truck present and which fault codes are in every system. Again, the first step, of course, is reading which systems there are, and then it's going system by system, reading the fault codes. The options you see here on the left, the plus signs, basically is so we can provide a better picture of exactly what's wrong. So not only do we know how many fault codes there are active on any given system, but we can tell you on this page exactly which error codes there are, okay? We can just expand all faults, and you will see all the let's say all the errors or faults active on that truck, or we can just collapse them. One moment. There we go. And just expand the specific system we want to check. In this case, we have the Cummins engine. Okay, and then we have this information here. We have the status of the fault code. In this case, it's an active fault code. We have the fault code, so the code number, which is what the OEM gives us, and how many times it's happened. Okay, and then we have a brief description of what the fault code means. In this case, the particular filter inlet pressure, valid data, but above normal operational range. This is what the OEM would normally give you, okay? With Jaltest, you know, we've gone several steps beyond. So first button here on the right is the freeze frame data, which is gonna be a context or exactly what was going on with the truck when it happened, okay? So basically it's gonna tell you when it happened and the priority. In some cases, it will tell you the mileage or how many miles the truck ran before having this issue. So this is all the information that the system provides, okay? We also give you the help and component of the faults, okay? In this case, we know that this fault code is related to this component here, the differential pressure sensor, DPF sensor. And then we can give you some information about the sensor. We will give you how it looks like, so some brief description, how it looks like, where to look for it, so the location, as well as some values, the pinout of the component, as well as some operational values, such as pressure, voltage, temperature. Depending on the component, we'll have different information, okay? Now, we also provide the option of without going anywhere else, just by clicking here, we have the component replacement guide, if you have to replace it, or the live data, okay? Let's say you want to check the data related to that component. You can just click on the button on the hyperlink below, and it will take you directly to that data without having to look for anywhere else in the software. Okay, since we are in demo mode, you see this is changing, but it should remain static if we are connected to a real truck. We click on the check mark and we go to the exact same spot we were before. We also provide the wiring diagrams. It's something that we develop ourselves. And the wire diagrams will have always the same structure, okay? You will see the system ECM, in this case it's the engine ECM, in the middle, and then the rest of the components connected to the ECM you will see on the sides, okay? In this case, the ECM is in the middle, as I said, and the components are on the side. The component we are working on, in this case the differential pressure sensor, is going to be highlighted, okay? If you hover the mouse over the component, you will see the picture. If you double click on it, you will see the exact same information as before, okay? So you don't have to go back to the diagnosis menu to check for the information, you will always have it one click away. And again, if you want to check any other component, if you double click on the ECM, for example, you will be able to check. You see here the pinout, so you know if the pin 58 and 55 are connected to this component here. Just by clicking here, you can count 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, so this one here, and 58, this one here. Okay, so pretty simple, but pretty useful. Again, the ECM, how it looks like, where to find it, and the information, in this case, ID. Okay. Now, if we go back to the diagnosis menu, we go back to the exact same spot. Okay. Now, for those of you who have the InfoLine license active, we also offer the fault code troubleshooting. Okay. It's a pretty useful troubleshooting guide. It's basically a step-by-step guide on how to fix this particular fault code. Okay. In this case, first step, check if there are any fault register. Second step, check the differential pressure sensor. Again, we'll have the same information as before. With the diagnosis tool, check the measurements. We can provide the measurements if you click here. And again, it's a simple step-by-step process on how to do it. Again, if there are some other symptoms, let's say what we call the troubleshooting by symptoms, imagine there's no active fault code, but there's a black smoke coming out of the engine. You can always click on the fault code, troubleshooting by its symptom, and we will direct you to a different fault code troubleshooting for that symptom specifically, okay? In this case, it's a more general one because it's a symptom, not a fault code. So it's basically a general description on what to do. If we go back, we should remain on the same spot, okay? Imagine that you have to, let's say, perform a regen or a particular filter reset. You can also do it through the troubleshooting guide. You don't have to go anywhere else. Just by clicking on the hyperlink, we will direct you to the specific action. In this case, you see here, it's asking us for the expert mode. Since I've already entered before, I don't need to do it again. But again, you know, guys, the expert mode, if you don't have it, you will have very limited capabilities on how to change parameters, perform calibrations, or maintenance options, okay? Since any action that is going to change information on the ECM, is going to rewrite information on the ECM, will require the expert mode, okay? Again, all our procedures have 3 different steps. First step is going to be general information about what we're about to do. In this case, you see here, we perform the regen. It's going to take between 40 minutes and 4 hours. The temperature we're going to reach, and some additional information, okay, as well as some pictures. If we click on the check mark, we will go to the second step. The second step is going to be the initial conditions that must be met in order to perform the regen, okay? We have here the check marks here, and we have here the description. It's always good to read this. It's always necessary because sometimes, even though everything is with a check mark, if we have, for example, one of these codes present on the diagnosis, we will not be able to continue with we will get an error message, and then we can get frustrated, okay? So it's pretty good to read everything before continuing, and then we click on the check mark, and basically it's carrying out the procedure, okay? Once it's done, you will see the test has automatically completed. And you should be good to go. Okay, and finally, always, if we have to replace a component, you can. I'll show you now the replacement component guide. But our last step is always going to be clear fault codes. Okay, so if we follow all these steps and everything is working correctly, you should be able to clear all fault codes without a problem. Okay, this is basically what you get on the diagnosis. Okay, if you will see that the exact same thing repeats on every system. Okay, so if you want to check any other fault code, you will see the exact same thing, pretty consistent. Now, if you other options we have here on the left side on the menu here is the system technical data. So it's going to be all the extra information that you might need to know exactly what's going on with the component. Okay, let me just select the engine. I will show you exactly the diagnosis menu from before. Give me 1 second. So again, it's pretty simple. You click on the right connector. The system will automatically pick up everything that's on the truck. So it will detect every system, and then it will read system by system. It will read all the fault codes. Okay. Again, it takes about a minute and a half, depending on how many fault codes and the systems present on the truck. And after that, you will be able to, without even connecting to the specific system, diagnose it and perform any actions you want. Okay. Now, if you want to know more about the specific system, in this case, let's say we want to connect to the engine. We have the menu here on the left. As I said, we want to connect to the engine. We have the system technical data, which is going to be, as I said, all the extra information you might need to make sure everything about the system. Okay, in this case, for the engine, we have the cooling system. So if you want to know the temperature or the pressures, instead of having to go directly to the engine, you can just check them here. Okay, you want to check the fuel system, the operational pressure, the intake exhaust pressure. Okay, and last but not least is the components. Okay, this is the component list that you can access them from the diagrams as well. I will show you now how. But again, if you want to connect to a sensor, instead of having to go through the specific through the list itself, you can just click on here, type in the word. So this search engine will really help you, and will be able to help you exactly figure out exactly what you're looking for. If you want to type oil, you will see how many oil pressure sensor. Okay. Now, on the diagrams, you will see the exact same thing we saw before, okay? In this case, we want to select the specific engine we are using, the first one. You will see the diagram, which is going to be as I said before, but something I didn't show you before is show component list, okay? Again, you will see the exact same component list, the exact same engine, and then you will see how, just by selecting it, you can see it on the diagram, okay? Now, vehicle service data is pretty useful when you have to service, let's say, a fleet of trucks. You can keep track of exactly what you have to do. After 25,000 miles, 50,000 miles, 125,000 miles, you will see it's basically a step-by-step procedure of what you should do for every one of the systems, okay? In this case, you have the cooling system, the fuel system, and the lubrication system. On some occasions, you will see the information here, which is going to be, let's say, additional information on how to perform the service on the specific system, okay? All this information we've got from technicians, from our own engineers developing it, as well as some information from the OEM. So we get the most complete options. You will see here the most complete information on the market right now. And then again, for those of you who have the info online, you see here every icon that has the internet icon here. You will have all these options available as well. Okay. Vehicle technical data. The vehicle technical data, you will see some things as belt distribution, the wheels on the engine exactly. So engine specifications here, engine distribution. So the small wheels here, the belts distribution, the after treatment system. So you will get all the extra information to make it easier for you to diagnose and work on any kind of truck. Okay. The troubleshooting by symptoms is what I showed you before. So again, if you have any symptom on the truck, but there's no fault code active, so there's something wrong, but don't know exactly why or how. Let's say you have difference in the crankcase, or you have black smoke. Again, if at any point you can search on the on the engine, on the search engine, and you will be able to access the specific troubleshooting guide for that symptom. Okay. Releases and procedures, basically some procedures that we get as well from the OEM. We get our own database, in which case we are able to, if we want to calibrate the accelerator pedal, we will need the expert mode, and then we can access the procedure, okay? So again, a lot of information contained just one click away. And finally, on the left side here, we have the component replacement guide, okay? This is something we will add on the 19.2 version, okay? So you guys might not have it yet, but the option is available under 19.2. So you will see in here, for example, if you want to change the NOx sensor after the catalyzer, you will be able to see the step-by-step guide here on how to do it, okay? From safety information to how to perform some of the steps, how it should look like, the pinout, and everything, okay? So again, all the information you might need to work on a truck, you will have it through here. Now, if you go back to the diagnosis menu, you will see here on the right side that we haven't even connected to the engine yet. Okay, basically we are just, this is the first step of the diagnosis, which is the full truck diagnosis, and we haven't even gotten to the engine yet. But before that, I want to check here. You have here the fault codes. Okay, frequent test. Sorry about that. You might be able to do on the engine from calibration of the variable of the VGT, checking the outblue depth measuring, okay, controlling programming. So there are other options here that you might be able to see. Under operation data, basically it's the data from the engine, for example, or the exhaust gas treatment. Give me one moment. There you go. So this is all the data you might be able total trip data or just partial trip data, so you know exactly how your trucks are behaving and how your drivers are using the trucks. Okay. Under maintenance resets, we have the options here. With bin information, you will see information about this specific truck. In this case, we are Freightliner Cascadia. Basic live data. Again, this is going to be the most important live data we can offer from the truck. Okay. But I'll show you right now how to access the full live data. So in this case, we have the odometer, battery voltage, engine operation hours, and you see here there are several different options here. So again, if you want to check the basic live data, so you know the coolant liquid temperature, you can always go through here without having to connect specifically to the engine. But if you want to check all the data from the truck, you can connect to the engine, and I'll show you how to do it right now. Okay. The report preview, basically you can do it through here or through here on the top, and you will see exactly what we've done up to now, up to this moment. Okay, we have diagnosis systems, so we know which systems are present on the truck. Again, you can get this in 2 minutes. You will have this full report with every fault code active. Okay, so you know, and you can the clients will be happy to see that you can show them exactly what's wrong. And for you, it's a revenue stream, since these reports can go for a lot. And in this case, you see how easy it is to get one of these reports. Okay. And then you have the telematic option and save results to a vehicle. Okay. I'll show you later where you can add all these options to the vehicle. But again, if we go to the overview. Now, there is this overview. We've seen what we can do without even connecting to one of the systems, but we are able to connect to the systems and have a lot more options. Okay. In this case, if we are connecting to the engine, just by clicking on connect, we will see exactly what we can do specifically to this engine. Okay. The menu that appears here, it's going to be the exact same thing on every system. So some systems will offer more options, some systems will offer less options, but at least the layout, you will see that it's the exact same thing. The first option is always going to be read fault codes, which is the exact same page as we've seen before. Clear fault codes, if you want to clear them. System data, is the data from the ECM, okay? This is pretty useful for us engineers and for you guys to know exactly the ECU software version, the vehicle manufacturer, all that information, okay? Under parameters, you will see the different options we have, okay? For example, for Cummins, for the 19.2 version, we'll have the option of copying and pasting the ECU data, okay? But again, we have more information, more options such as maximum vehicle speed, cruise control, PTO, the idle. So all these options will be available under parameters. For example, if you want to change the maximum vehicle speed, again, it's going to be a three-step program, so a three-step process. So the first option is going to be the information. Second step is going to be in this case, how the system is available right now, and some information about what we're about to do. And last option is going to basically type in the speed. If you just follow these three steps, automatically the system will change it, and the truck should have the new speed available, okay? Again, as I said, the first parameter we've seen, for example, this one is going to be an improvement for the 19.2 version, okay? But the rest are already available. Under monitoring, you will see the live data and the system display and the specific system live data. For me, the most important part, or at least the most visual one, is the system display. Okay, you will, for example, if you see the system display for the fuel system, you will see how it looks like. So you will see the flow chart of how every system is connected to the other, and some additional information such as voltage, pressure, or temperature. Okay. If you follow to the exhaust gas treatment system, you will see more options here. But again, if you want to just check the live data, just by clicking on live data here. And again, depending on every engine, we'll have more options or less options. I believe for this engine in particular, we have up to 5,000 different values that we can check. So it will take some time to get them all. On some other engines, we might have maybe 15, depending on what the engine offers and what we can get from the engine. Okay. You will see the values here on the top right corner. You will see exactly how many we have and how many we've selected in the event if we select any. Okay. You see here right now we haven't selected any, and we have 5,140 values. Okay. Imagine that you only want to check pressure. Okay. Instead of having to go through the full list, you can just check pressure, and you will be able to select some of them. If you want to check only the oil pressure, you can select a specific values for the engine pressure, okay, for the oil pressure. Now there are several options of visualizing the data. In this case, we have just the values, okay. We have the options of graphing them. So you know exactly how they vary. If they are moving around, you will know exactly how they vary. You can stop it. You can rewind it, fast forward, and these will all be stored in the report. Okay, or you can just see them as the wheels with the needle. Okay. And again, you can always add the option here, which is a customized help. Okay, if at any point on this truck you want to check, or that some truck has a problem with the oil pressure sensor, just click here, check oil pressure sensor, and whenever you open on this kind of engine whenever you check the specific systems here, you will see the option of getting your customized help. Okay. Now, if we go back here, we have the option of activating components. Basically, that means activating and deactivating to know that they work. Okay. In this case, we have the fan activation, for example, or the solenoid valve. And the system checks, they are the most common tests or checks we have for these, or not the most common, my mistake, but the full set of tests we can do for this engine. Okay, we have the cylinder cutout, the cylinder performance, VGT actuator, the AdBlue Dev pump, the control, all that, okay? Under maintenance, we have the region, for example, or the replacement, okay? Those are the most important, at least for what I've seen with you guys, with the technicians. The region and the replacement are something that everyone's looking for in a diagnosis tool. We have them, okay? For commercial trucks, in let's say 99.9% of the cases, we have the option of performing the region, and in some cases the replacement or the reset, depending on what the truck allows us to do. But again, you will always see those options here under maintenance. Under calibration, you will see the option of changing the injectors, so the injector coding, as well as the VGT calibration. Okay. And under configuration, you will see the option of password management. Okay. What does this mean? This means that if at any point you want to, one of the systems is password protected, either client password or the other password. If it's client password protected, what you can do is with this, if you already know the password, this is pretty important. If you already know the password, you can change it or you can erase it. But you will not be able to do anything if you don't know the password, okay? We are not a hacking tool, let's say. What we can do is change it or erase it once we know the original password. So that's pretty important to know, because sometimes you think with this we will be able to access any system even though we don't know the password. That's not the case. Now, under operation data, you will be able to see the data record, even if it's partial or total data, which is basically how the engine has been working. Okay, you will see the distance traveled, idle fuel use, so you know exactly how much time it's spent in idle. You will know exactly if it's been an effective driver or not. So you will have all these options here. It will be either total or partial data. Okay. And finally, we have the data recorder. The data recorder is an option. It's an option, okay? If you are doing a road test and you want to record, let's say, up to 30 minutes of the road test to make sure that you can check all the values afterwards, you can do it through here. It's pretty simple to check. Just have to check the specific data you want to check to see, and then you can just start recording, and the system will automatically recording for 30 minutes. Okay, so again, pretty simple. Then you can later see exactly what was going on during the road test, and it will be pretty useful again for you guys if you want to check exactly how the truck is behaving on the road. Okay. Here it looks like the live data. Basically, it's just selecting the specific systems you want, and then it will start recording, okay? Again, this is what we have for the diagnosis part, okay? You will see the same options. There will be more options or less options depending on the system, but you will be able to, with what we've told you, basically, see the exact same thing. Now, if we want to disconnect, I want to show you the manual option, the manual selection. Again, if at any point you know exactly which truck you are working on, you will be able to just select it here. You can check here also R coverage, okay? You can either enter the VIN here, and once you've entered it, the system will automatically tell you which model it is and then direct you to it, or you can just select it manually, okay? And here, this option is very good because you can see exactly what brands we cover for either truck, trailer, bus. So you see exactly what we can do for any kind of vehicle. And again, we have the exact same thing for off-highway and agricultural. You see here on off-highway, we have 3 different vehicles for off-highway. And let's say we want to connect to a CAT. As I said, for CAT engines, for example, we have for CAT, the automatic system scan for CAT. Okay, so you see that the system is gonna work the exact same way the exact same way it was working with the buttons here on the initial page. And for agricultural, the exact same thing, okay? And then we have the manufacturer's menu, okay? If you want to connect to a specific system instead of having to go through the full track, you can do it through here, okay? If you know you want to connect to a Cummins engine, just by selecting the specific, let's say the specific system. Let's say you want to connect to the 220 CM2200. You can just click here on connect. Or if you have, this is pretty important, and we'll do a webinar on this specific thing, is if you have already a fault code, imagine the truck is on the road, there's a fault code, and you want to go service it, and you don't know exactly what's wrong with it, you can always enter here the fault code under manual diagnosis, and you will be able to, just by introducing here the fault code, so maybe there's an example here, 141, you will know exactly the component that's related, so you know exactly what's wrong with it, and you will have the troubleshooting guide, okay? Again, we'll discuss this further on a future webinar. But again, it's pretty useful to know this. Now, last thing I want to show you guys, it's going to be the GRP module. The GRP is the Garage Resource Planning module. Okay, basically this will allow you, first of all, to have a customer list and a vehicle list, so you can keep track of exactly the works you've done to either the customers or the vehicle. Okay, we have the diagnosis reports and the maintenance reports. Okay, in this case, pretty useful. You will know exactly what we've, for example, what we've seen before on the simulation track. You will see everything that we've done, how it's established on the diagnosis report. Again, since I'm on the enterprise option here, which is linked to several different units, it might take some time to access the cloud. There we go. And then, for example, in this case, this is the one I saved just before the training session. You will see exactly what we've done with the truck, okay? Exactly systems that are present, the fault codes that are active. You can go code by code and all that. So again, you can do this in under a minute, and you will have an option of showing exactly the client what's wrong and exactly what you did to the truck, okay? So if the client thinks that you didn't work on the truck, or they tell you you didn't do anything to the truck, you can tell them exactly what you did. Again, if you have a maintenance report or a work order report, you have all the options here on the top, okay? Under workshop management, if you have a work order or you have a task, you can check here. It's pretty useful, okay? Again, this is a way of managing the company, of managing the workshop, and making sure that there's no missing step or there's no action that goes undone, okay? The options of how to work with the GRP module is here, okay? If you have just one unit, normally you will use the GRP Synchro, which is the version for a workshop. If you have several units or several locations, you might want to activate the GRP Enterprise, okay? In this case, that's the one I have. And basically, this is more or less this is it. I'm not sure if you guys have anything specific you want to check, or if there's something you think I missed, or there's something you want to see in depth. Let me see, EGR reactivation. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, for the technical questions like the EGR reactivation, I would suggest sending a Jaltest feedback or sending an email to the email address I'm gonna send you right now. Training. Okay, because depending on the system, it might vary. Okay, so yeah, so it's gonna be best if it's something. There you go. If it's something related to the explanation on or the basic functionalities of the software. But again, if you want to, okay, they're asking how to perform turbo actuator calibration. In this case, as we've seen here, question from Mike. The calibration for the turbo actuator should be under calibration. Okay, if we go here, something I missed saying before is if you don't know exactly where the specific action is, you can always click here. And for example, if you want to say VGT to check the app, you can either do the attest for the turbo actuator or calibrate it. Okay, should be here, the turbocharger. And then you have the initial installation and the calibration. Okay, these are the options here. And again, if you follow the steps, you should be able to do it. Okay. Let me show you. Well, you were asking about the EGR activation before. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. It should be under. Should be through here. Again, for some engines, something that we haven't seen before, since we haven't selected any manual activation, is some engines will require different cables. Okay, just so you know, we'll give you all the options, and then you can check exactly what we want. In this case, for the EGR, for the PAPR MX engine, we have the EGR power reduction. Okay. Not sure if this is what you're looking for. If it's you say you wanted to deactivate it, maybe there's a different option. But again, I would have to check because I actually don't know everything on the top of my mind. But 1 second, let me try a different engine maybe. So again, as I said, depending on the engine, you will have different options. Okay. Let's see here. In this case, we have the reset of the adaptation values and the EGR and turbocharger condition test, which is basically activate and deactivate the EGR. Okay. So again, as I said, depending on the engine, depending on the system, we'll have several options. So something you've seen on a Cummins ISX might not be available on a PACCAR engine. Okay, I'm seeing here. Okay, Greg, if you want, yeah, send an email if you want, Greg. I'll have to check with engineers. Okay, Again, I'm gonna check all the information, and of course we'll give you a reply as soon as possible. Okay. So I'm not sure, guys. We have 5 more minutes, maybe 10 more minutes. If you have any other question specifically about the software, more or less of what we've seen, yeah, our email is gonna be this one, training@deltest.com. Okay. Okay, selecting the engine manually should not give you any more options, okay? If we've detected the engine automatically, you should see the same options as if we selected manually. The thing is that in order to be faster, mostly on the presentation, it's easier for me to just select the engine manually than by going through the full scan process, okay? But again, no, there should be no difference in the amount of information you get if you select manually the engine than if you go through the automatic system scan, okay? Okay, guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you. I think I have the EGR option here, but give me 1 second. Okay, I believe this is the option you were looking for. Again, as I said, depending on the engine, we'll have more options or less options. Okay. This one here, you said 10 hours here, activated casting. So again, we have the option of disabling the EGR reduction, but we are still developing on some models the full options. Okay. On the other one, on the EPA 10, we're still under development. For the EPA 13, we have it. Okay. So again, but if you think something's missing, if you think something is or you want to add something for the next version, the best option here is always to send the JALTES feedback. That way we will be able to add it for the next versions, okay? Because if we don't know there's a problem, then we will not be able to fix it. Now, you were talking about horsepower. Give me 1 second. Let's see, Cummins ISX. The same one we were on the presentation. Yeah, normally, let's see. Normally you see here, under the parameters. One second, because the horsepower is something that sometimes we cannot change. Okay, again, always depending on the engine. I don't think this is one of the cases. Okay. Again, I will double check with engineers, because again, all the technical information, in order to better answer, it's gonna be the engineers who can do it. I will double check, Randy. Don't worry. I will double check with engineers, and I will let you know. Okay. Again, if you could send an email to the training@jaltest.com, so I can keep track of all the questions, that'd be great. Okay, because that way I will have the ones I can reply myself. I will do immediately. The ones that require some information about from the engineers, I will be able to provide that information as well. Okay. The training, it will be sent to everyone. Sorry, I was going too fast, but there was a lot of content in real time. So we'll try to make another future session. Hopefully, it will last a bit longer, and we'll be able to provide all the information. Okay. Mike, I don't think it's here. It's basically to change the the tire size. If it's a tire size, yeah, it's here. But again, you see here. Again, all this presentation will be the video will be sent to you guys. Okay. And again, if you have any other question or doubt or suggestion, I will be happy to receive all kind of feedback, so we can improve for future versions of the training sessions, as well as improve the software. Okay, guys. This is all the time we have. Training rep, usually it's from us. It's pretty difficult for us to go to everywhere. So normally you have to contact your distributors. They should be able. Some of them will have training reps. If not, we can either do a remote session or do a training like this one. Okay, with all of you guys. So yeah. Okay, so this is it. Thank you so much for joining. Again, sorry if I was talking a bit fast. We'll send you all the information to your accounts, to your email addresses, so you can double check it. And if there's any question, again, send an email to the training@jaltest.com, and we'll be happy to reply to any question. Okay, guys. One last thing, there was a question, one of the first ones were about the tractor. Let me show you. In order to connect to the tractors, you can go through here. Okay, these are all the options here. And then if you select, let's say, John Deere, you'll see the options that we have. Not sure if there was a specific question about, if there was something specific about the tractor. So there's been so many questions that I've missed some of them for sure. Yes, we will be doing one specific for agricultural. Not sure exactly at what point in the year, but we'll be doing one for agricultural and one for off-highway as well. Yeah, we have that in plan, on that plan.